In this video, we discuss how to solve percent problems. There are three basic percent problems. They can all be solved using this relationship expressed in this equation. Is number equals percent times of number. So for the first type of percent problem that we have, we want to find a given number, a given percent of a given number. For example, what number is 25% of 640? So we look for our is number. And in this example, that's unknown. What number is? So our is number is an unknown. We can use a variable, perhaps x, or a question mark to stand for the unknown is number. Then we write equals. Then we write in our percent, 25%, times the of number, which is 640. Next, we'll want to change that 25% to 0.25% by moving the decimal place 2 units to the left. So that becomes 0.25 times 640. We can do that calculation in GeoGebra. So in GeoGebra, we go 0.25 times 640. And we see the answer 160. Our is number is 160. Therefore, we say 160 is 25% of 640. Let's do a couple more exercises with this first type of percent problem. What number is 40% of 350? Again, we see that our is number is unknown. We can write that with a question mark. So the is number equals percent, 40% times the of number. We'll change that 40% to a decimal by moving the decimal point 2 units to the left. So we have 0.4 or 0.40 times 350. We can do that in GeoGebra. So we go 0.4 times 350, giving us 140. So 140 is 40% of 350. In the next exercise, it says if a gas tank holds 14 gallons, how many gallons are in 1/4 of a tank? So R is, this is our is number, the how many gallons. So we use a question mark. The how many gallons is, or equals, then we need our percent. Well, 1/4 is 25%. Times the of number. The tank is 14 gallons, so it's 25% of 14 gallons. So we change the 25% to 0.25 times 14. Opening up GeoGebra, we go 0.25 times 14, giving us 3.5 gallons. Always put units in if there are units specified. So if a gas tank holds 14 gallons, 3.5 gallons are in 1/4 of a tank. The second of the three types of percentage problems looks like this one here next to number 2, where we want to find a percent given two numbers. So for example, 15 is what percent of 50? Here we know what the is number is. The is number is 15. So we say is number equals percent. Now it's the percent that's unknown. In this example, it says what percent. So we'll use our question mark or our variable x to stand for the unknown number times the of number. And now we'll solve this equation for our unknown. So we'll divide both sides by the 50. $15 divided by 50 is 0.3. 0.3 is our unknown, but we want to express it as a percentage, so we'll move the decimal not 2 units to the left like before, but 2 units to the right because we're turning it into a percentage. So that will become 30. We attach the percentage symbol, and that is the percent. So 15 is 30% of 50. Let's do a couple more exercises. 99 is what percent of 450? Our is number is 99. We go is number equals percent. We don't know the percent, so we'll use our question mark here, times of number, which is 450. So we'll solve this for the question mark by doing the opposite. If it says times 450, we'll divide both sides by 450. 99 divided by 450 leaves us with 0.22. They're asking for a percentage here, so to turn it into a percentage, we'll move the decimal point 2 units to the right, giving us 22%. So 99 is 22% of 450. In the next exercise, we see Jerry received a raise at his part-time job. If he used to make $12 per hour and got a raise of 75 cents per hour, what percent of his previous salary was his raise? So the raise is our is number. He got a raise of 75 cents. So we have our is number, 0.75, equals percent. The percent's unknown. It says what percent, so we'll use a question mark, times the of number. Well, it's of his previous salary, and he used to make $12 per hour. So we have our equation, and we can solve this for our unknown. So we'll divide both sides by 12. .75 divided by 12 gives us our 0.0625. Now, we want to be careful with rounding here. So if you haven't adjusted the rounding on GeoGebra, here it's rounding to 2 decimal places. I want more decimal places than this. So I'm going to open up the settings and change this to more decimal places for us. And we can see here that we get 0.0625. So we see our answer here, 0.0625. To write that as a percentage, we move the decimal place 2 units to the right, giving us 6.25. We attach the percentage symbol, and we have our percent. So the raise of 75 cents per hour is 6.25% of his earlier salary of $12 per hour. The third kind of percent problem that we'll see is where we find a number that is a given percent of another number. For example, 10% of what number is 12? So here we see our is number 12. It equals percent, 10%. Now the unknown is the what number? I'm sorry, the of number. So we go 10% times the of number, and again our of number is now the unknown, so we'll write that as a question mark. So then we need to change the 10% to decimal form, so we'll move that decimal 2 units to the left. That gives us 0.1 or 0.10 times the unknown. Then we'll divide both sides by 0.1. So 12 divided by 0.1 gives us 120. So 10% of 120 is 12. Let's do a couple more exercises to practice with this third common type of percent problem. 72% of what number is 90? Our is number is 90. We go equals the percent, which is 72%, times the of number. Well, it's unknown, so we'll use a question mark. We need to change that 72% by moving it 2 units to the left. So 0.72 times our unknown. We divide both sides by the 0.72. $90 divided by 0.72. $125. 72% of 125 is 90. For our final example, we see Jeff used a coupon at the guitar store for 15% off any purchase of $100 or more. If he saved $33 on a used guitar, what was the original price? So he saved $33. That $33 was the 15% off the original price. So the 33 is our is number. So the 33 equals the percent, which is 15%, times the of number. Well, it's 15% of the original price, and the original price is unknown, so we'll use a question mark. We change that 15% to a decimal, moving it 2 units to the left. 33 equals 0.15 times the unknown. Then we divide both sides by 0.15. $33 divided by 0.15 gives us 220. $220 is the original price. And we should put in the dollar symbol here because that's the units. So the original price was $220.